couple of months back now, I guess, I made a cut piston mod that would take standard V3 Vurtego and kind of make it a pretty good representation of the new V4. And I had some people asking me about, you know, how I did it and wanted to see some pictures of what the mod looks like and stuff. So that's what this video is about. Plus, I just wanted to do a little bit more actual testing on camera just to show that it actually is performing pretty well and not just a kind of a jump test that says, hey, I think I can jump higher. I have to decide which pogo stick should it go in. That's a little bit more complicated than it might seem because most of my pogo sticks are not in the kind of factory state, and so the more mods that they already have on board, it might change how they perform and show really what the cut piston mod really is adding or taking away from. We've got two different Power Pogo X's, which are kind of like an off-brand Vurtego. I think that the best option is using this large V3, which I would really prefer not to use because I don't even like jumping on a large shaft that much in general, and the fact that I'm going to do this cut piston mod to it is going to make the shaft hilariously, long. And through the magic of filmmaking, here are some that I've prepared earlier. Basically, this is the cut piston mod. I'm not going to go into too much depth about the process or what the components are because honestly, it's not that complicated, and I feel like if you can't figure out, generally speaking, what you would need to do to make something like this, then you probably have no business making something that you're going to trust your life and safety to. But essentially you've got your piston that goes up, you've got a plastic spacer right here, and then you've got your rubber shock donut, and then you've got the top of the piston, and then you've got the piston head. I'm not sure exactly what this part's called. If you buy an actual V4, basically the piston, instead of ending here, right up at the top, actually ends down here. So it'll go pegs, donut, piston top, and then at the top you have the cut piston, basically one of those in one piece at the top. The only difference is that it's hollow in the middle because it has to allow the air to get in there to increase the air volume of the stick. Just need to make something that's about this size of material that will have some kind of O-ring at the top to keep the pressure in, and will be sealed at the bottom with something that you can screw onto the threading of your pogo. The next thing that I wanted to test is something that they do in the promo for the V4, a 0 PSI bounce test. And see, it's actually getting about 2 inches off the ground. And so then when you do the regular V3, you drop it, nothing. It's just like a brick. So it just goes down and doesn't bounce up at all. This is the new cut piston. You see it's getting off the ground about ½ an inch to an inch. Definitely smoother, but it's hard to say why this one is not performing this test as good as my previous mod, but I think it might have to do with the fact that this is a large, and so it has more weight in the tube, and more weight considering that it has a longer shaft as well. 23, just over 23 inches. I'm not sure what a regular medium is, like 18 inches or something. Definitely don't have quite as good a seal as I did before my first try. It leaked a few times while I was pumping it up. It could just be because the oil is maybe kind of like getting in around the O-ring. You can hear, I don't know if you can hear that. It's definitely leaking out a little bit if you go off center at all. And so, but we're gonna see how it's bouncing. It is up at about 60 PSI, and this is gonna be pretty hard for me to jump on because I'm only about 5'10", and this is a large tube with an extra large shaft. it works. But it's starting to get a little sketchy up there with the tube that's a little too big for me. And the shaft is like so long. I hope you guys liked it. Sorry, I don't totally feel comfortable with doing like a step-by-step instructional thing. If you really want to try this, it shouldn't be that hard to figure out where you maybe should go. But at the same time, it is a little bit fiddly. So even though I'd done it before once, my second one that I made was not 100% airtight seal. If you were to decide to do this, which I don't really recommend, and even if it worked great, that doesn't mean that you necessarily shouldn't buy a V4, because the V4 has more things going for it than just the cut piston. Less friction on the bushing, the new bounce pad, the better pegs with the grip on them. The biggest difference between something that's just like put together in your shop or garage and Vurtego is that they've probably got hundreds if not thousands of R&D testing hours put into each one of these products that they release to make sure that that they won't break, and if they do break, that it's not going to be catastrophic. The mod that I made, the original one, it's working awesome, but it's only been tested for like 5 or 6 hours at most. So it could break in the future, and it could break like bad. So there's no guarantee. That being said, I think that the best thing about the cut piston is not that it makes your shaft longer, it's that it actually reduces friction and makes it a lot easier to jump, both in the reduced friction area and in just the fact that you have a higher volume of air. The one that I did today with the extra large shaft, the extra large shaft, that's so over the top. You don't need that. Even when you do this on a medium piston, it's like half an inch to an inch longer than a regular large shaft. What I would prefer is to actually have a small Vurtego shaft, like a regular small, and to do the cut piston on it, so you'd have something that's about the size of a medium, maybe just a tiny bit longer. Because then you get the reduced friction without having to necessarily have this really long shaft. Not having tried it, it might bottom out too easy. I don't know, I don't know. But that would be my preference. And so if any of you guys has a small piston that you want to send to me for testing, or I can buy off you or something, just let me know. And otherwise, thanks for watching the video, guys. Really appreciate it, and tell me what you thought down in the comments.